we're going to talk about accounts receivable. My name is Trisha Thomas. I'm a partner here at Fourlane. Before I get started on today's topic, I've got a couple of reminders for you guys. We have a YouTube channel here that we upload all of our videos that we do for these webinars. We've also got a Facebook group. We would love for you guys to join us. There's lots of great information in that group. Our Facebook group name is Fourlane QuickBooks Enterprise. It's a great place to be able to have some peer interaction, lots of information, can ask questions on how to do stuff. So please feel free to join that group. Okay, so we heard from our clients the need for wanting an on-demand support when they've got some QuickBooks issues. So we created our own on-demand support. So you can see that we can help with stuff like software issues, licensing problems, end user issues, or maybe even some error codes in QuickBooks. So how it works, once we get you signed up, all you'll need to do is send an email to our help desk. That email needs to include the details about what's going on, the urgency level about the issue, and of course, the best time to contact you. What you can expect from us is a return email within the hour, setting up that meeting time so that we can get whatever's going on in your software figured out for you. So these plans are easy, affordable support plans. The pricing starts out at $25 per QuickBooks user per month for up to 5 users. It then drops to $20 per month for 6 users or more. So if you want some more information, please reach out and we can get you signed up for that. So before we get started, I want to tell you guys a little bit about Fourlane and some things that make us unique. So we are one of the largest QuickBooks Enterprise service teams, and we're the #1 Intuit partner since 2010. Our service team is one of the only firms that can support and implement not only QuickBooks, but other ERP systems such as NetSuite, Xero, Acumatica. Our team is made up of experts of not only QuickBooks, but also accounting. So we understand not just the system, but we can also support that financial side of things also. And finally, we work with our clients to empower their teams with new and consistent processes to provide both time and energy savings. Okay, so let's get to today's topic. So as I told you guys, we're going to talk about accounts receivable. We're going to talk about the different functions that are in the accounts receivable process. So we're going to start, we're going to look at the AR aging report, and we're going to review how we can use this to keep track of notes and or action items. I'm going to show you the collection center and how it functions. We'll walk through statement creation options and adding payment reminders. We're also going to look at the preference section for that system setup in regards to our aging reporting. And finally, I'll finish off by reviewing the write-off process with you guys. Okay, so let me hop on over to my sample file and let's get started. Okay, back up. Okay, perfect. So kind of talking about the AR process, I want to start talking about commented reports. So commented reports are a useful feature that can be applied to most reports inside of QuickBooks, but it is especially helpful if you're asked to keep track of outstanding accounts or follow up with customers who are late in paying their invoices. So preparing this report and distributing it to your sales team can also save a lot of time. If you've got weekly meetings where you're reviewing what's going on with outstanding balances, so this will have everyone on the same page for that meeting. So let's go ahead and let's walk through creating a commented AR report, and let's talk through that. So we're going to come to reports. We're going to come down to customers and receivables, and you'll see for AR, there's 2 options. There's AR aging summary or AR aging detail. The summary is going to be the total of all of the customer transactions at summary level. And of course, the detail is going to be the actual transactions listed. So for this one, we're going to just look at the AR aging summary report. Okay, So at the top here, you have this button that's called Comment on Report. So once I check that button, you'll notice this changes the look of the report, and it adds little speech bubbles by each entry that when you highlight, turn green when your cursor hovers over them. So you can click on the little bubble, and this will allow you to add a footnote association with that line on the report. So for example, if we look at Baker store number 10, and we select this amount right here, we can add a little note that maybe it's a comment that we've reached out to them and the customer said the check is in the mail. Or for example, Sean Martin here, we have a balance that's over 90 days. And maybe we add a note here that says someone needs to follow up on getting payment for that invoice. So this report can be printed, it can be saved as PDF, or it can even be emailed, and the comments will appear as footnotes on the bottom of the report. Again, this is just a simple way to keep track of those notes, and you can find them again in the commented report section of your report menu. So under reports, there's a commented reports, and so that report, once it's updated all your comments, it will actually be saved and you can go back to that report. Okay, I'm going to take us back to our home screen. Now let's talk about the collection center. So this is a helpful tool when you think about streamlining communication between customers and when they haven't paid an invoice or it's coming near the due date. The collection center is a nice little hidden gem inside of QuickBooks, and many people don't even know that it exists. So I'm going to show you how this works. So first we need to make sure that we have the collection center turned on. So we're going to come up here to Edit. We're going to go to Preferences. We're going to select Sales and Customer. And then you know that you have these two tabs. My Preferences means changes that are going to affect just my login. Company Preferences is any changes affects the full company file. So we always need to make sure that when we're making these changes, we know it's affecting our full QuickBooks accounting file. So for the collection center, we just need to make sure that we have this little box check that says Enable Collection Center. Now we're able to use that. Now to navigate to the collection center, we're first going to go to our customer center, and we can either select it here from our home screen or come up here and select customer center. So now you'll notice that you have this orange icon that says collection center up at the top of that window. So let's go ahead and select it. You'll notice that there's two tabs. The Overdue tab, this is a list of all customer invoices that are past the due date. And then you have the Almost Due tab, and this is transactions that are getting close to the due date. So you can see on your Overdue tab that you have the option to send an email. So for this feature to work, you have to have email addresses set up in their company profile. So if we just go to the customer center, and I'll just select the customer to show you, they have to have an email set up for the main email so that we can automatically send them their email on any collections. Okay, so come back to our collection center. So when I choose select and send email, you're going to see that it lists out all of those past due balances. You can see they automatically have checks. We can uncheck. We don't want any of them sent, or we can just send them all. So you can see that over here, you've got the template of what it would look like. Well, we can actually customize these templates. Let's go back to where our customization for templates are, and that's under Edit, Preferences. Again, we want to always choose that company preference. We're going to come down to Send Form. And this is where all of our templates for email are. So when I do my drop down arrow, you're going to see that I have two different ones for overdue invoices. For that, maybe we want to use a little bit of stronger words for those overdue invoices. And then for that almost due, maybe a little bit friendlier that, hey, we're coming closer to that due date. We're just sending you a reminder. When we send these reminders out, They get an email and a PDF copy of the invoice so they can see these invoices to remind them of what it was that they purchased from us for those goods or services. Another really great feature is once that email has been sent, you go back to the Customer Center and you'll see this tab that says Sent Email. So this will keep track of a record of all emails that have been sent to from the Customer Center. And this is a great way for everyone to see that the client has been contacted about their past due invoices. Okay, so now on to statements. So statements have been around in QuickBooks for a long time. They're very helpful if you want to quickly send your client a summary of either their activity over a period of time or maybe all of their open transactions up to a certain date. So from our home screen, we're going to select the statement button. There are several preferences for statements that will impact what information your statement contains. So if you choose statement 3 and from, you'll have a statement that contains the activity the client incurred during this period. This one is helpful if you send out statements once per month. So any transactions from prior to the from date will just be listed as a balance forward. The second option of all transaction as of the statement date will show all transactions showing an accounts receivable for the customer. This one is helpful if you want to gently remind them of everything outstanding on their account. Down here, you have multiple different ways to select customers, and preparing that AR aging summary with comments is really handy if you're using the multiple customer options because you'll know exactly who needs a statement. You do have the option for what data the form could include. So over here, you can see that you can either show invoice details, print statements, print due dates, so you can customize what you want your customer to see on that statement. And then also, don't forget, we have our templates and we can customize those just like I showed you how we did on the collection templates. Okay, so down here we have this go to payment reminders. So this is payment reminders are another little hidden feature that a lot of people don't know about. So this is a QuickBooks Enterprise feature and it helps automate communication to clients about overdue balances. So to start using the payment reminders, you have to set them up. So the first thing you have to do, go ahead and go in there. You have to create a customer group. So the customer group defines in QuickBooks who will be receiving the payment reminders. You only have to set it up once. It will hold that customer group that you set up before. Now, I went ahead and set one up, but I want to go ahead and just show you the different fields. So first, of course, we're going to enter your group name. And, you can just, whatever you like. The one that I did, I just selected and called it clients with overdue balances. I'm just going to enter that again. Okay. Next, you're going to fill out these fields. So this, you can see you've got a drop down and you basically, what is it that is going to determine if they should receive this payment reminder? And so since we're doing it for past due balances, I would say choose open balance. Here you can choose, is it equal, less than, or greater than? And I would choose greater than. And then what is the dollar value that you want that payment reminder? Is it $1? Is it $100? Whatever makes sense to you, you want to go ahead and put that value there and of course choose add. I'm going to hit cancel and then we'll just look at the one that I have created. And that way we can go ahead and so I told you I named it. I've already got my fields. We've got open balance and greater, and I just chose 1. And then on my next field, so as you can see here, that it's got a whole list of customers. Keep in mind that this list is dynamic. So QuickBooks will automatically adjust this customer group based on that criteria as long as this box to automatically add new customers or remove based on what we chose in those fields. Okay, so now I'm going to go ahead and click finish. Now we can go ahead and add our reminder. So I'm going to just hit our plus button to add our reminder. And so first you're going to choose what date you want to have the payment reminder go out. You want to select your period. So is it previous month? Is it open transactions? And then you want to select the level of detail that you want. So just like we did on that statement, do you want them to see item details, memo, due dates? And then of course, guess what? We can customize another template. You can customize that template for what you want your customers to see. You can do this for statements or for invoices. You can see here that you have that choice for what reminder you want to set up. So you can, what you want to send to your customers. You can also set up multiple payment reminders. So if you need to remind customers several times a month, you can do that. It's just not a one-time thing, so you can do that. What's really great about it is you will get a pop-up notification about the payment reminders to send. That way you can preview the data before those customers are contacted. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and exit out of here. So one of the things that we talked about that's always important is making sure that we have our company settings set up so that we can run the reports that we want. So I want to take you to preferences. I want you to, so that we can talk about the preferences related to the aging report. So under edit, under preferences, and then we're going to come over here to reports. We're going to choose our company preferences, and you'll see here, this is about our aging report. So the aging report feature will default to age from due date, meaning the invoice balance will show as current in aging reports until after the due date has passed. The other option here is to age from transaction date, meaning the invoice will start to age as soon as the invoice date has passed. This might be a best option if your invoices are always due upon receipt. So I'm going to show you where this drives this report, and that's going to be at our AR aging, where you can see we've got current 1 through 30, 31 through 60, and so far. These are the aging dates from when we created those invoices based on that preference. Okay. So last thing I want to go over with you guys when it comes to AR functions is the write-off function. So let's take a look at what happens when a customer won't pay their invoices and we need to write off their balance. So let's use, for example, the Sean Martin here, that's over 90 days for $6,600. Now, while it might be tempting to make a journal entry to write off that balance, I'm going to show you guys 2 easy ways that we can clear these balances off of our AR aging. Okay, so let's just say we just got word back that Sean Martin is not going to pay that invoice, and we've decided as a company that we want to write that balance off. So from our home screen, you can go to Receive Payment. Okay, I'm going to enter his name. And you see it brings up that outstanding invoice for that total amount. So what we're going to do is we're going to write it off. So we're going to select discounts and credits. And the discount amount that we are going to do is going to be equal to the amount of the invoice because we are choosing to write off that total amount that is uncollectible. So I'm going to enter in the 6600. Now our discount account, this should be our bad debt expense account. So we should have already created on our chart of accounts a GL account called bad debt, and it's an expense account. So I'm going to go ahead and choose that account. We know we can enter the words or we can do our drop down and see the list of our chart of accounts. So I'm going to choose bad debt. If you're using classes, you can fill in your discount class. And I'm going to hit done. And now you're going to see that it gave a discount for that amount. Our payment is 0. I would recommend in your reference that you put either bad debt or a write-off. That way you know why this was done. You can always go back. So let's go ahead and save this. Now I want to take you over to the Customer Center. And I want to select John. And what we're going to see is that his open balance is 0, so there's no open balance. You're going to see that we have a discount and our reference number says bad debt or write-off, so that shows us this transaction so we can see what happened to this invoice. That way you can always see the history of what happened with this invoice, and we can see that we wrote it off for bad debt. Okay, the other option we can do is we can create a credit memo to offset. Now to do that, you have to have an item set up mapped to bad debt. Let's go to item list. I've already got one set up. Let me just go find it for you guys. Okay, so I named my item bad debt. I recommend using the type other charge. And then here it is the same. We're going to map it to our bad debt expense. So that has to be done first before you can create your credit memo, because all AR transactions, when it comes to invoice and credit memos, they have to have an item so that it knows what to do with that balance. Okay, so let's cancel out of here. Let's go back to our home screen and let's click on Refunds and Credits. And I'm going to use, let's look over here and let's use the store 10 that's got this balance in 61 days. So let's enter this one, and this was Baker's, and we're going to choose store 10. Again, if we're using classes, you can enter that. Your credit memo, you can let it auto-populate, or you could put it as your bad debt. Our item is going to be our bad debt that we created. Our dollar amount is going to be what that total invoice amount is, which is $10,680.48. Okay, when I click save, it's going to pop up and it's going to ask us, what do we want to do with this credit? And this is where we're going to say that we want to go ahead and apply it to their invoice. And that way, this removes the credit and the invoice on our aging summary. So I'm going to say apply to invoice. And you're going to see here, it pops up and it's assuming which invoice. If there was multiples, we can choose multiples. I'm just going to select done. We're going to go ahead and save and close. Now let's go back to our customer center. And let's go to our Baker's number 10. Same thing. Now we see that they have a 0 balance open, and we can see the credit memo for the offset. If we come to our AR aging, we see that Baker's number 10 is no longer open, and neither is Sean Martin. This is a quick and easy way to go ahead and complete offsets to where we clear it off of the AR aging, where sometimes we see that by creating journal entries, they will still show up here. So we want to make sure you're using transactions and not journal entries to clear up customer balances. Okay, so I'm going to just kind of go over a couple more reports and then we'll turn it over for any questions before I let you guys get back to your day. Coming over here to reports, coming over to customers and receivables, you've got 2 reports that I have clients that use a lot, and a lot of those is our average to pay. So I'm going to look at it in summary. And so you can see that in summary, it just kind of gives you high level at customer, how long it takes them to pay. But if we actually run it and we say, let's average to pay, it now is going to break down per invoice. What was the average that it took them to pay? So you can see this column here will show you per invoice, and then you have a total for, on average, this customer takes about 51 days to pay their invoices. It brings it on down. When you see something like this with the negative, what this means is they paid before they were invoiced. So don't freak out if you see a negative. And you can see, you can look at all here. So that way you can start when we think about doing cash flows and want to make sure, that we are contacting clients, we can kind of see on average how often do they pay. Maybe that'll drive how often we send them payment reminders. So for example, this client on average pays 105 days. Maybe I want to send them payment reminders twice a month. So kind of drive and push and reduce that average to pay date. Okay. Other report I want to show you again is under reports and customers and receivables, and this is our collection report. I'm going to just show you. I'm going to backdate us, and we have nothing. So when I was entering everything, I didn't save all the information when I was going through. But what this will show us is what we have past due and what customers we owe. And this is an easy report, just like we had here. I'm going to kind of show you back. I cleared up our 8. So right now, I just pushed out our date because I cleaned up our outstanding aging. But you can see here, this one is showing that this one is now due. This is who we would say we probably need to contact. And again, guess what? We still have available our comment on report. So we can do the same thing where we can add some information and save this report. Okay, so that's kind of just some extra functions you guys might not know about that you have in AR. I hope you guys use those. It will definitely make collecting payments from customer a lot smoother, as well as if we need to write off using those features. So I'm going to turn it over. Let's look at our question center, and then I'll let you guys go for today. So let's open up that box and see what we've got here. So we have one question, and it says, how do you confirm new invoices have been emailed to the customer without reviewing the sent email tab in each customer? So easiest that I see, so a lot of times I always tell clients, if you think of your different sections of your company, your inventory team is going to live in that inventory center. Your AP team is going to live in the AP center, and your AR team, more than likely, is going to live in the customer center. So, as you said, you can look at the sent email to see everything, but you can also, if you actually click on an invoice, you can see a history of the invoice. So if I go, and let me click on one. So you can actually, at the invoice level, see the history of everything that's been done. So if you email those invoices out, it will actually show you when the customer has opened it. You can see when you received it. You can see all the history about it. So this is at invoice level, what we can see. I don't know. Let's just try it. If we can actually add that to the report, let's just check it out. On our collection report. So you guys know on any report, you can customize and you can add different fields. So let's see if we can add the email field. And this is why we talk about this commented report. So easy if you don't want to have to go and look and see an email, we would put that on that commented report. Email so-and-so date, to so-and-so person, and it's saved in that commented report so that we can see what we actually did. So that way, like you said, you don't have to go to the sent email. And I'm not seeing it as an option. So those might be your only two ways. Let me just double check. Yep. So the only two ways to see the activity that has been done for that invoice is at your customer center, and it's either at your sent email or selecting the actual transaction and seeing the history of the transaction itself. Okay? Okay, I don't see any more questions, and we are right at time. So thank you all for joining me today. I really appreciate it. If you need any help with anything else, please reach out. We'd be glad to work with you guys, getting your processes in place and whatever support we can help you with your QuickBooks 5. Okay? Thank you guys so much. Have a good rest of your day, and we will see you next week.